Let the record reflect we have reconvened with all members present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing after the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Maureen Byrne is absent right now. Her father passed away on Sunday, so I want to recognize and give our thoughts to her family. But at this moment, I want to have a moment of silence and reflection for Bo Cirillo, part of our Madison family. I'll say a few more comments in a few moments. Thank you. You may be seated. Can I have Debbie Cirillo and the Cirillo family please come forward? And also, Bo's DPW family, please join us up front here. Come on, yes, Holly, come on up. Yes. This past week, we lost a great Madisonian. That picture on the screen right there is classic Bo. He was a couple years ahead of me at Madison High School. I really got to know him on the softball fields in the men's softball league. And I would say that tensions often got tense or tempers rose on that field, that would be an understatement. But I think Bo always had that smile in every game, and that was the way he represented his family, his life, and represented our town as he gave 22 years of his life to the Borough of Madison. We will truly miss Bo. And as it said in his obituary, big heart, great sense of humor, and always there to help others. And that's the way he was. An example of his giving nature, and this is just a small token, but we have a tradition here at the Borough of Madison. Every month we recognize a employee of the month. Bo was recognized back in April, and we have a lunch to have them. And get to have lunch with the mayor. That's kind of contra to having a good time, but it's and Bo cannot make his lunch, and so I want to present his Employee of the Month of April, and this represented what Bo did, and this, again, just a small thing of who Bo Cirillo was. Came in on a Saturday, because I think the DPW offices were looking a little shabby. Polished and waxed the floors, and as the crew came in Monday, it was like angels had shown up to take care of it, and that was Bo Cirillo. So Debbie, there is a certificate, and on behalf of the borough, our roses. I want to thank Ken O'Brien, our Director of Public Works, for the bagpipes. Thank you. And thank you again. Good man. Couple of business items before we get back to greetings to the public. Can I have a motion for the executive minutes of September 25th, 2017?
I'll move them.
Second.
We have discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion for the regular minutes of September 25th.
I'll move them.
Second.
Any discussion? There were some corrections already entered in the record. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome all. It's great to have a nice crowd here tonight. Couple of comments before a very special proclamation. We had a tremendous Bottle Hill Day. I know I'm sure we're going to hear some more comments about it, but it keeps getting bigger and better every year. And for the first time in 3 years, the weather actually cooperated. We could have it on the scheduled day and not under the threat of rain. An incredible amount of credit and thanks should go to Lisa Ellis. Under her leadership over the years, Bottle Hill Day just keeps growing. It has expanded down Kings Road, and the crowd just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So she does a tremendous job, and it's so many other hands that make it all happen. The DDC, with all their army of volunteers, Chief Datchison, our police, I got so many comments from our residents that noticed the security measures put in place. In this day and age, you can never be too safe, and to have people at Bottle Hill Day feeling comfortable and safe was so important. Ken O'Brien, our bagpipe player, and DPW staff in the back there, had the Bottle downtown ready, and I took a walk Sunday morning, and it was as if it never happened. You know, just incredible, the amount of hours. If you're not here, if you don't come here too often, I often have trouble with my mouth. But anyway, but the hours they put in to get the town back in shape again. And of course, the 10,000 plus people that showed up, I've heard estimates from 10 to 20,000, but just incredible. I also had the opportunity, since it was a hot day, to help the senior class and do the dunk tank. Maybe why I might be fighting a cold right now, but it was a lot of fun. Shifting gears, I want to welcome Allergan to town. Allergan is now currently moving into Giralda Farms. We'll soon have 1,400 employees working in that building, getting everything ready for Allergan, and you'll be seeing them spending money downtown, hopefully becoming our neighbors and really being a part of Madison. So welcome. And welcome back, Ben. He was off in Montana, walking his daughter down the wedding aisle. The employee for the month of October, Frank Champy, court administrator for a joint municipal court, for his professionalism in working with Chatham Borough, Chatham Township, Harding Township, Morris Township, as well as our own court, Madison. His commitment and dedication has ensured a smooth and orderly court operations. Now I'm going to see if I can talk better and come down below. If Joe DiBiase can come forward, and And now any of Joe's friends, the regulars at Central Lunch, if you want to come up here, we don't have 10 stools for you, but please, if you want to come, I'd encourage you, some of you, to please come on up and join us. Before I read this proclamation, come on, Paul. James, you have to be up here.
Yeah.
George, yeah. Yeah, Craig, your name is on the wall. You need to be here. Aurora, thank you. So this is just a small slice of the people that have been enjoying Joe's cooking for so many years. And before I read this proclamation, I want to share some of my personal thoughts. Just shortly after my wife and I got married, a little over 30 years ago, we were living on Britton Street. And I don't know how many times I walked past Central Lunch, and there was a sign hanging in the window that said, "Don't laugh, it's your loss." And so one day I said, you know, I do have to go in there to find out what my loss would be. And so I'm so thankful that I opened that door and was welcomed into Joe's family. He had just recently, at that point, taken over from his parents, but thankfully I got to meet his parents because they were still working behind the counter. And so I got the feel for what would become 89 years of Central Lunch in Madison. You know, I had so many great meals and probably too many sausage Klondikes. But one of the things that has been a common story is how Joe took care of everyone. If someone wasn't there for a couple of days, Joe was looking into it. My personal story of how Joe was always on the job came from one night I get a call that the fire sprinkler has broken in the gym at the Y. And so I run down to the Y and I see Kirk Oakes there ready to help clean up. Now, Kirk Oakes is at the time the insurance agent for the Y. I'm saying, "Kirk, how'd you get here? Is that our insurance company so good?" He said, "No. Joe was listening to Scanner. He knew that you took care of the insurance for the Y. He called up and said, 'Kirk, I think there's a problem at the Y. You might want to check it out.'" So that is just a small example of how Joe took care of his family. And the other thing is what Joe meant to so many generations. In the proclamation, I've got one family mentioned. I won't mention them yet because they're in there. But just the Conley family story. Of course, I was the one that first went to see what it was all about, and shortly brought my wife there. And then as we had children, we did what so many other families did, brought them in, boosted them up onto the stool, or we squeezed into the little booth. And then our sons grew up and didn't have to be boosted anymore and brought their friends there. And that was so much what it was all about. So before I read this proclamation, which has a lot of whereases, I just want to personally thank Joe for making Madison so great, but for being such a great friend all these years. Thank you, Joe. And I know there's a Yankee game on tonight, but I've got to cover 89 years, so you're going to have to, hopefully you set the DVR so you can watch the Yankee game tomorrow morning. Now, we did condense the 89 years to one page. Whereas Central Lunch, also known as Joe's, located at 13 Central Avenue, and 13 Joe often talks about being a lucky number, was opened on July 13th, 1928, by Carmine DiBiase, and was the oldest continually family-run business in Madison. And whereas current owner, Joe DiBiase, took over the business from his parents, Carmine and Marie, in 1982, and continued to serve favorites such as the Klondike. And for those that didn't have it, you've got to find someone that can make it, but it won't be the same. And BLTs, all cooked on a special iron skillet. Whereas over the 89 years, it is estimated that 1 million eggs have been cracked, scrambled, fried, or poached. And whereas since 1990, Joe was assisted by James Blair, firefighter, lieutenant. So James, lieutenant in our Madison Fire Department, and was also helped by his cousin Aurora Shalanzio. and the few customers who were given permission to go behind the counter. And whereas, with its 10 stools and a half booth, a comfortable atmosphere existed at Central Lunch, where customers watched Joe cook on the original 4-burner stove while he shared stories, local news, solved Madison and world problems all over that counter. Whereas Joe treasured his customers and treated them like family, to the point that if someone didn't show up for the usual meal, Joe would check to make sure they were all right. And whereas many loyal customers have been eating at Central Lunch for decades, passing the tradition to their children, including lifelong resident Tony Donato, who first visited at the age of 3 with his father. Tony is a lot older than 3 now, in case you don't know. Whereas Joe DiBiase, a Bailey Eller High School graduate, a Navy veteran, lives in Madison in a home built by his father and is the kind of resident that makes Madison such a special place. And whereas the last transaction in August of 2017 was rung up on the same cash register as the first transaction in 1928. And whereas after 89 years as a family business, Joe DiBiase has announced his retirement and Central Lunch is closed. Now therefore I, Robert H. Connolly, Mayor Borough of Madison, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby congratulate Joe on his retirement and commemorate 89 years of Central Lunch and the DiBiase family as part of Madison and our heritage. Joe, thank you so much.
Much of what I was going to say, you said.
Okay, but you're allowed to say it too. It's your day.
First off, I got to thank my father and my mother for starting Central Lunch. And then the Michael family, they treated us as their family, and they were very good to us over the years. I didn't do it alone. I had the help of my cousin, Aurora. I love her. She was there whenever I needed her. And the only time she wasn't there, I would tell her, stay home, the weather's terrible. Don't worry about me, I'll be all right. And, of course, James, his father volunteered him when he was 13 years old. He's 40 years old now. And I had him for 27 years. And he's now my son. He's my son. His children call me Grandpa Joe. It's going to be quite a story to tell them that how they had 3 grandfathers. And let's see what else. Oh. There's one more I have to talk about, and she knows who she is. She was my public relations lady. Whenever a new person would come, I didn't know what to order. She's my first time here. Well, that's all she had to hear, and she got right up and told them the whole history, and told them what to order. My friend, where is she? Michael Holtzman. And she served a little bit too every now and then. But that's the way it was at Central Lunch. Everybody was friendly. It was a homey place. And well, now I got a lot of. First, I got to tell you how many generations we went through. We went through the Burnett family. Generations. We went through Sacco family, 4 generations. We went through the Woodson family, 3 generations. We went through Borough's family, 5 generations. So that's the kind of place it was. And now that I got a lot of time on my hands, I'm walking again. So if any of you see me walking and recognize me, please toot and I'll high-five you. but I don't want to say goodbye. I'm going to say so long. And God bless all of you. God bless Madison, my hometown. Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much, Council. Appreciated everything. Made it a beautiful night for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for getting. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep. Men's. Yeah. Wow.
No, it really does. That was incredible.
So it's get up. Yes. How are you? Yeah.
Good job.
That was great. No, but it was great. Yep, it is, but it was great. It was amazing. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Hey Spencer, how are you? I'm good, thanks. Nice to see you. Oh.
For breakfast. I usually
Hi Martin, how are you? Nice to see you.
Thomas is here too.
God, now I feel hard.
Thank you.
Well done.
Almost okay. Well, what happened was I was going to go, and then I somebody wanted me to say, "If you apply to Westwood, I don't want to go there," and that's why I picked off. It said, "The windows like a layer of grease on everything."
Nice to see you again.
Oh, brother, you
Fine.
a wee bit at a time.
I didn't realize someone was sitting there.
I know.
Right, did anyone
Cried. He would have cried.
So good to see you.
Very nice to see you. How are you doing? Are you going to the reunion? Aren't you in John's class?
Bagpipes alone would have made it.
67?
Bagpipes alone
Not?
would have made it.
Oh, all right, then no, we're going to have a reunion in 68. Yeah, and 69.
Oh, okay.
All right, you'll hear about that one after John's.
Okay.
I thought you were in John's class.
Somebody's got to open another.
Bob, that was the best thing I've ever seen in council. The best. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything good in all my years of being in council. That was like Madison. Oh my God! I mean, to see all those different people up there.
When he broke down at the end, it said Madison, my different.
Yeah, all the
And you know what I said? I asked for
Bob Jennings, Mr. Abruzzo, Dennis
how silly everything can get.
No, well, we would like to.
Kathy Bailey, sit
Wait,
next
what,
to me.
what's the status?
I'll find out.
Find out for me. Jim.
That was beautiful, Mayor. That was very nice.
There,
Photo and bow.
it's early.
The mayor got his.
All right, we will reconvene in just a few minutes. We'll let some of the noise filter out.
Tomorrow morning's.
I am so
Tough.
Oh, I would love it.
Now we should just move.
Yes, I.
You know what's left?
I know.
The idiot brigade. Well, it's 1-0 Yankees, top of the second.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What are they doing? How much are they down?
1-0 up.
They're winning. I'm not a big Sabathia fan in pressure.
What a comeback.
We'll give it just a few more minutes and we'll get restarted here.
This is old. This is how they're done. I mean, these people.
Jimmy's trying to get him to go out.
If we were getting paid by the hour, this would be okay.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, the idiots.
All right, thank you.
The idiot brigade is here. What the fuck, why? Yeah, I'm getting out of town.
That I asked, would he, my
Did that?
Yeah, because
I know.
Take care, George.
On tape?
I know, I've never seen anything like it.
Oh, I bet you did.
Well, that's what we need. It's always open anyway, even in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Give it 2 more minutes and we will reconvene. We're at 3:32. We'll reconvene at 3:34 here.
Ben's question was, could we close the doors? I told him we can't.
Can you hear me out there? All right. Thank you. That's, I think often, even especially this kind of time of year, we forget what Madison is all about. And that is a good reminder about what a great community we have. And for those that never stepped foot in Joe's, I'm sorry, you missed quite a place and quite a family to be part of. All right. We will do reports from committees, Public Works and Engineering. Ms. Vitale.
Thanks, Mayor. My congratulations to everybody for Bottle Hill Day. It was a great day. Lisa Ellis outdoes herself every single year. And everybody was just absolutely tremendous. And like the mayor said, the next day everything was nice and clean. So kudos to this town. Nothing like it. Report from engineering. The Independence Contracting completed installation of refueling the canopy at DPW last week. There will probably be photos on Rosenet if you want to take a look at it.
Yep.
A construction contract will be awarded this week to Borough.
Might want to hold up a second, Carmel. Let's see if we can look. Tell them there's Klondikes at the bottom of the stairs.
Here's what? Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Can't hear me?
That's it?
No. Why don't you talk to them in this one?
All right, we'll give it a see if, go ahead again. I think it's a little bit better.
Okay.
Yep.
Talk loud. Okay, I'll start all over again, okay?
No.
Just what you all needed. Independence Contracting completed installation of the refueling canopy at DPW last week. Take a look at it. Those photos will be on Rosenet. Bob Vogel doesn't know that yet, but he will be putting those on. Construction contract will be awarded this week to Borough USA Construction Company for the MRC rebound wall. 3 grant applications were submitted to NJ DOT for municipal projects. The Greenwood Avenue Phase 1 plans and specifications were sent to New Jersey DOT to authorize for bid in February. Surveys for Cook Avenue parking lot were received, so that's going to be a great project for next year. The Complete Streets Committee met on October 4th. We had a really great meeting. We talked about the new intersection at Park Avenue and did lots of work on how to improve the streets in Madison. The complete interior of the North Street Pump Station was repainted last week, and the site work improvements are scheduled over the next 2 weeks. There are also photos if you're interested in seeing that. That's been a huge project for us. DPW has been very busy. They did lots of work on at Hartley Dodge in the basement to help out with grinding the floor for safety. They've been putting in drinking water fountains, assisting the water department. Bottle Hill Day preparation, took a lot of work. The Parks Department is still lining fields. They're still cutting and trimming, and the water baskets look very good this year. There was a little extra something put into them because they look gorgeous on Bottle Hill Day. And of course, the Parks Department also participated in Bottle Hill Day. Mechanics Department, they're always servicing and repairing. Police Department, all the machinery for DPW. They made a new radiator for the Candlewood pump station and do a tremendous amount of preventive maintenance. The Sewer Department has 11 basin repairs, storm basin cleaning, and a system vendor at North Street lift station upgrades. I understand there was another problem with a water line at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Safety, Mr. Landrigan.
Thank you, Mayor. For the Police Department, on October 3rd, the Madison Police Department was awarded $2,700 for body armor through a grant that will be used to replace expired bulletproof vests. Body armor has a life expectancy of 5 years and is replaced upon expiration partially by grant funding. On October 4th, School Resource Officer Vincent Galgano and Detective Paul Papamarcus provided an anti-bullying presentation to the entire junior school population. On October 18th to 19th, both officers will also provide Halloween safety presentation for kindergarten through fourth grade at Torrey J. Sabatini School, as well as at Kings Road School, encompassing approximately 643 students. Now, this is the best one of all right here. On Saturday, October 28th, from 7 to 11 p.m., members of the Madison Police Department, PBA Local 92, will be transformed into ghouls to scare participants at the annual Fright Factor event in Florham Park, New Jersey. This event is a month-long fundraiser that supports Halo for Angels, which helps the community families in need due to sudden tragedy. Thank you, Mayor.
We want pictures. Finance and Borough Clerk, Oscar Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. The finance report from the tax collector. Added and omitted bills were printed and mailed out today. During the year, the tax assessor reviews completed construction projects. The projects received an increase in their assessment based on the construction. Additional bills are then sent out to the property owners, reflecting the taxes due for the third and fourth quarter of 2017. On October 15th, the last debt payment for the year will be made on Monday, October 16th. Principal of approximately $1.3 million, along with the interest of $417,768.75 will be paid. This payment is for the debt associated with the renovation of Hartley Dodge and the construction of the public safety building. And then the Finance Department will also wire the Board of Education their monthly funds on Monday, October 16th. That amount is approximately $3.3 million. From the Clerk's Office, in anticipation of the November 7th election, the Borough Clerk's Office will be opened on October 17th until 8 p.m. for late-night voter registration. In-person voting is available at the Morris County Clerk's Office in Morristown, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, as well as the weekend before the election day. Mail-in ballot applications are also available in the Clerk's Office or on morriselections.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Utilities, and if you have anything for community affairs as Maureen's backup, Mr. Wolkowitz.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, I don't have a report from the electric utility. However, the water utility has a number of items that are certainly worth talking about. The first one, and rather important, is that the hydrant flushing program for 2017 to 2018 has begun. While the main traffic areas will be flushed at night, the secondary streets will be flushed during regular daytime work hours. For a short period of time, you may experience low pressure, air in the water, or discoloration of the water. Your water will return to normal when the flushing in your area has stopped. So please, if any of these things happen, low pressure, air in your water, or discoloration, give it a few minutes and before you make any calls. It may just be part of routine flushing. The meter installation program we've been talking about is moving ahead. There have been 10 meter installations since the last report, and also radio transmitters are being installed for remote water reading on work orders for outside registers, meter replacements, and new construction meter installations. This is an ongoing project. I'll keep you up to date, but obviously the objective is to have the entire borough of Madison be on this new meter system. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And Health, Mr. Rowe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The regular October meeting of the Board of Health has been changed from next Tuesday till tomorrow night at 7:30 at the Madison Health Department on Walnut Street. Tomorrow, the board will be introducing an ordinance that will amend Chapter 218, which includes addressing invasive plant species. For the Madison Flu Clinic dates that will be held on the Civic Center, this year, they'll be Wednesday, October 25th, and Wednesday, November 1st, both from 9 to 11 a.m. Then there's a couple of programs they'd like everyone to know about. First is Forging Positive Futures Through Positive Parenting, is a program on parenting that features a certified parent coach who provides interactive and engaging parenting workshops and courses. The courses are on October 25th, November 1st, November 8th, and the 15th through the Madison Y from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Call Lindsay Pruitt to sign up through the Madison Health Department. You can reach her at 973-593-3079. Next program is Check Your Meds Day, a pharmacy program that's being done in conjunction with MASA and the Madison Pharmacy. It'll be held on October 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Madison Senior Center. On site that day will be a licensed pharmacist who will review and help organize participants' medications. And then the last one is a cooperative program between MASA and the Morris County Prevention is Key group. They're hosting a program called Hidden in Plain Sight. That'll be on October 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the high school. This program is open to the public and is aimed at helping parents identify red flags for substance abuse and to be able to equip them with the knowledge and tools to prevent substance abuse by their own children. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any communications or petitions?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor and Council received one email dated October 4th from Dr. Paul Cerna of Albright Circle regarding the Kings Road redevelopment project.
Thank you. And now we're on to the first of two invitations for discussion. This is limited to agenda items, which tonight there are none. But you can comment or ask questions on any of the resolutions that are on the consent agenda. If you want to comment on the consent agenda resolutions, please step forward, state your name, your address, the resolution number you're commenting on, and keep your comments to 3 minutes. I will give you a 1 minute grace period. Ordinances for hearings will have a hearing tonight, so you don't need to comment on those right now. Anyone wishing to comment on the resolutions? Seeing none, I close this part of the meeting. As I said, there is no agenda discussions. And we move on to ordinance for hearing. Will the clerk please read the statement?
The ordinance scheduled for hearing was introduced by title and passed on first reading at the regular meeting of the council held on Monday, September the 25th, 2017. It was posted and filed according to law, and copies were made available to general public requesting same.
I call up ordinance 41-2017 for second reading and ask the clerk to read said ordinance by title.
Ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $60,000 from the Electric Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase of electric meters with radio read technology.
I open the hearing for ordinance 41. Anyone wishing to comment, please step forward. Seeing none, I close the hearing.
Mayor, I move ordinance 41-2017.
I'll second the ordinance.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
I declare ordinance 41-2017 adopted and finally passed, and I ask the clerk to publish notice thereof in the newspaper and file the ordinance in accordance with the law. And now we're on to invitation for discussion number 2, and this is when you may comment on anything. Again, same rules apply as far as stating your name, your address, and keeping your comments to 3 minutes. And I will give you a warning at 3, and you'll be stopped at 4 minutes. Anyone wishing to comment, please step forward. Tom?
Tom Abruzzo, Maple Avenue. Good evening, Council. Clearly, I can rest assured I really had no intention on coming here tonight discussing the topic I typically discuss, which is the Welcoming Community Resolution. But given the events of the last 24 hours, which I'll get into in a moment, I felt compelled to come on back here and discuss. Generally, I've been here several times over the course of the year. This forum doesn't, while I do appreciate the opportunity to speak, I don't think this forum necessarily allows for a lot of good back and forth discussion. When with a limited amount of time, sometimes I don't think a lot of things necessarily get flushed out or come to any kind of conclusion. But anyway, with respect to that, I'd like to follow up on a couple of my comments from the last time I was here at the last Borough Council meeting. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge some of your responses that were made to my prepared remarks last time. Mr. Jacoby, I like to just appreciate the statements that you made last time regarding the Welcoming Community Resolution, stating that it is going to expire at the end of this year, and that resolutions expire after 1 year. Obviously, from my perspective, viewed that as good news. Hopefully, at the end of that year, we could, put this resolution issue to bed. But if not, we can at least have a good, open, and fruitful discussion and a more back and forth. And if we're going to go through with this on a go-forward basis, we would go through with it with a input from all sides of the equation and put in front a very balanced resolution that takes both parties takes issues from both parties into account, such as the town of Leonia did earlier this year. I'd also like to acknowledge your statements last time, Mr. Jacoby, that Madison will always follow federal law, at least regarding this the resolution here. Appreciate that statement, and obviously state that that is a very important, given the statements made last night by gubernatorial candidate Phil Murphy. At the debate last night, Phil Murphy made the statement that he is going to, if he wins the election, he is going to make New Jersey a sanctuary state. Now, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for us here in Madison? I can appreciate your comments, Mr. Jacoby, that we'll always follow federal law. But if there's anyone who reads that resolution as it's currently written, it says we will follow federal law, but along with that, we will also follow the New Jersey Attorney General's directives. Well, if we get a new governor whose Attorney General decides to make changes there, then what is this council going to do at that point?
1 minute, Tom.
Okay. And so I will kind of close this out with a question for all of you that I think that all residents need an answer to right now, particularly as we have an election coming up next month. Basically, which side are you on? You guys have made the statement before you want to have a welcoming community resolution. That's fine. You've also put out a number of comments that we are not a sanctuary city. You put out an FAQ stating all the reasons why we're not. But if we have a new governor who changes the laws, what are you going to do? And I think here, as residents of this town, I think we'd like to know once and for all, where is the position? And if you guys don't make a statement, I think you're basically coming to a conclusion that you are for being a sanctuary city, and that should be a concern to a number of residents here. And if you're If you simply want to be a welcoming community, I think you would get back and sit down and rewrite the resolution, potentially take into account the version I provided to you back in May. All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And yes, I know you want to hear a reply to that, but this is not the forum for that, and it's also not the time, since what is said in debate is certainly not law nor guidance for any town in the state. So we'll, as they often say, you cross that bridge when we get to it. Anything else to add?
All I was going to say is that the way the American jurisprudence works is the highest law of land is the U.S. Constitution. And from the U.S. Constitution, federal laws. And federal laws, then you have state constitutions. So every state has to, we all have to follow the federal laws. They are the highest laws of the land. Perfect example is states can be more generous, but they can't be less generous. So the Fair Labor Standard Act sets minimum wage. Everyone has to comply with that. There are certain states you see they're going to raise the minimum wage, I think New York, to $15 an hour. They can be more generous. At the end of the day, regardless of who's governor, who's a state senator, who's a mayor, council, they have to follow federal law. And I'm not going to opine because I didn't watch the debate, but I can just tell you from having clerked in federal court, etc., the highest court in the country is the U.S. Supreme Court, and because they control federal law and the federal Constitution. So I think that people, every resident should know that regardless of who's sitting in the office of the governor, and perfect example, you had a federal law many years ago that dealt with the desegregation down in the South, and there were some governors who didn't want to partake in the federal law, and you can recall that they sent in troops to enforce the federal law. So states have to comply with federal law, as does this governing body at all times.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to be heard, please step forward. Seeing none, I close this part of the meeting. We move on to introduction of ordinance. Will the clerk please read the statement?
The ordinance scheduled for first reading has a hearing date set for November the 13th, 2017. We published in the Madison Eagle, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the public requesting copies.
I call up ordinance 42-2017 for first reading. I ask the borough clerk to read said ordinance by title.
Ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $25,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund to purchase windows and related improvements for the Civic Center.
Mayor, I'll move ordinance 42-2017.
I'll second that.
Council discussion?
I just had two quick questions. One, this was not in our initial capital budget for the year, so how are we funding it?
This is coming out of general.
CFO will step up to the microphone.
Yeah.
So, Pat, as you know, the capital budget's illustrative. We have more money in the capital improvement fund than what we had appropriated and discussed in the 5-year capital plan. And so it will be funded through those funds. We'll also be coming back to council probably at the next council meeting, if not the first meeting in November, with the cancellation of ordinances, which we know will be plenty to fund this.
And I guess the other question was, I was kind of surprised because it wasn't in the capital budget. Is this the only issue we have at the Civic Center, or are there any other recommendations that are going to be coming next year, I guess, in addition to what we've been forecasting for the last 5 years?
So now that we have a new DPW superintendent, there's going to be, I think, a greater focus on buildings and grounds. I think he's got the skill set to do that. He, as we've talked in council before, he has the ability to actually do some of the building and construction himself, along with some of the very capable men in that department. So I think we'll see a renewed focus on that, but I can't predict what might be coming forward in the next 5-year capital plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ostry, don't
My
go
understanding is that this is it. Because I asked this question earlier today, that do we have a master plan for the Civic Center to reflect any other repairs? That this is very necessary and will improve the energy efficiency of the building, because the windows are really in bad shape and some of the doors are really in bad shape.
Oh, yeah, I might as well ask the other question, which I forgot, which is, 2 years ago, we were thinking about taking it down. I mean, are we still thinking that property could be utilized for something else, and this is $25,000 we're spending that's not going to get a lot of useful life?
Can I just make a comment about that? Sure. You know, a few years back, one of the things that we wanted to do was put in an elevator. And I was a big proponent of that elevator. And at the time, there were people that said, what are you, crazy? You're going to spend all of that money? All right? You know, eventually we're going to tear it down, we're going to make a new building and whatever. Well, it's never been on the top priority list. And in the meantime, the seniors have enjoyed the opportunity to go upstairs. You know, do I think that, you know, putting $25,000 out for seniors is kind of unpredictable? I think it's okay, but I also agree with Austri. I think we need a master plan. We need to look at that building. We have to look at the facilities that the health department has and whatever. But in the meantime, these people, these are our seniors, and they deserve to have at least comfortable space to do whatever they like to.
Probably another way to put it is with the council passing this ordinance after a hearing would be a commitment to this building as it is right now. You know, not a eternal commitment, but it's certainly we would not be spending this money if there's going to be a recommendation coming from anywhere to.
I understood that if it was a $2,500, $25,000, you start to really think.
Yeah.
You know, are we going to be taking this building down in the next 3 to 5 years? And is there a cheaper option to fix if it's really sort of an emergency in the short term? This is a more permanent fix. So, you know, it's something you would do typically if you expect the building to be there for another decade or more.
Any other? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey? Yes. Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
Okay. Consent agenda resolutions. Will the clerk please read the statement?
Consent agenda resolutions will be enacted with a single motion. Any resolution requiring expenditure is supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any resolution requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All resolutions will be reflected in full in the minutes.
Mayor, I move Resolution 257-2017 to Resolution 268-2017.
I'll second it.
Any discussion or any that need to be pulled? Roll call vote.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes to
Mrs.
all,
Wright.
but I need to abstain from R264-2017.
Mrs. Vitale?
Yes.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wolkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Rowe?
Yes.
There is no unfinished business. Approval of vouchers.
The current fund is $373,137.09. General capital fund, $3,094.60. Electric operating fund, $207,637.34. Electric capital fund, $14,900. Water operating fund, $12,224.71, and the trust, $59,938.51. The total is $670,932.25.
Mayor, I move approval of the vouchers.
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There's no new business.
I move we adjourn.
All in favor?
So, I hope Joe, I hope he knows what he's doing. Who did this one? No. Ray, did you see Martin?
Get done by 9.
Yep.
Martin, he was in the Star, yeah, it was, yeah, Star Ledger.